Hey, beautiful beings. Welcome back to the Faith and Frequency Book Club. This is your week 2 recap. We covered chapters 3 and 4 of The Secret, and this section was all about putting what we've learned into action. These chapters introduced the creative process and gave us tools to align our thoughts, emotions, and expectations with the life we are meant to live. This week reminded me that it is not enough to know. We must begin to practice. We are not just waiting on results, we are shaping reality from the inside out. Chapter 3 lays out a clear 3-step process. Ask, believe, receive. Ask with clarity. Speak your desire boldly. What you focus on expands. So be sure your ask is coming from faith, not fear. Believe that is already done. Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is the evidence of things not seen. We are not called to believe once it arrives. We are called to believe while it is still invisible. One quote from the book says, "Our job is not to figure out the how. The how will show up out of a commitment and belief in the what." And that gave me peace. I don't have to solve the entire plan. I just have to stay rooted in the vision. That section of the book also spoke about scientists like Einstein and the role of imagination in human advancement. It said, "Their faith and imagination have been the cause of the evolution of humankind, and we reap the benefits of their creative minds every single day." That reminded me how our thoughts, our prayers, and our visions can become part of the future someone else lives in. Faith is not only personal, it is generational. Receive by becoming emotionally ready. The book says to feel the way you will feel once your desire has manifested. That means letting your body, your emotions, and your mindset match the outcome before it shows up. It is not about pretending, it is about preparing. Remember, faith is a frequency. Romans 4:17 says that God calls all things that are not as though they were. That is divine alignment. That is spiritual frequency. When we tune our thoughts and feelings to what God has already spoken, we begin living by faith, not just talking about it. Faith is not waiting with anxiety. It is walking in assurance, and that changes everything. Let's get into chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about powerful processes and tools for alignment. Let's start with gratitude. Gratitude is a signal to God that you recognize what is already working. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 calls us to give thanks in all circumstances. Gratitude multiplies what you already have and magnetizes more. Visualization is more than daydreaming. It is directed spiritual imagination. Ephesians 3:20 says God can do more than we ask or imagine. When we visualize from a place of trust, we engage that promise. Emotional alignment. It is impossible to feel bad and at the same time have good thoughts. That line reminded me that I cannot speak peace while holding on to stress. Philippians 4:8 gives us a guide for what to focus on so that our thoughts and feelings stay in sync. So this week is about a spiritual shift. Week 2's reading challenged me to stop focusing on the timeline and start focusing on the alignment. I do not need to chase the outcome. I need to tune my thoughts, feelings, and actions with the frequency of belief. That is where transformation begins. Expectation is not entitlement, it is agreement. So pause for a moment of faith. Take time to ask yourself, what have I been asking God for? Do I truly believe it is on the way? Have I created the emotional space to receive it? Let your answers become a declaration, not just a journal entry. Now, for a moment of frequency. Choose one of these tools and put it into practice. Begin each morning with 3 specific things you are grateful for. Spend 2 minutes visualizing your prayer already answered. Or at the end of each day, replay your experiences through the lens of growth, not lack. Let these practices become your spiritual rhythm. When you shift your thoughts, you shift your frequency. When you shift your frequency, you shift your life. Stay in tune, stay aligned, keep showing up inside out, and most of all, keep reading with faith and frequency.